I was rewiring the laundry room when my son came in holding a drawing. He said, "This is mommy, this is me, and this is mommy's friend who kisses her when you're gone." The worst part? He drew it in our bedroom. I was rewiring the laundry room when my 6-year-old son walked in and handed me a crayon drawing that shattered everything. "Look," he said, "this is mommy, this is me, and this is mommy's friend who kisses her when you're gone." He pointed to a stick figure with red hair. They were standing on our bed. He even drew the green blanket, the one Amanda and I have had for years. I'm Kyle. I'm 35, married to Amanda for 8 years. We have one son, Mason. I work full-time as an electrician. Normal life. No drama. Or at least, that's what I thought until my kid casually exposed something I hadn't dared say out loud. At first, I thought maybe it was just a game. An imaginary friend, maybe. But when I asked, "What friend, buddy?" he said, "He comes when you're fixing houses. Mommy says not to tell you, or she'll be sad." I felt a cold spike go through my chest. I didn't show anything. Just nodded, patted his head, and told him to go watch TV. He ran off like nothing was wrong. But something was very wrong. That picture, that line, it explained everything I'd been ignoring. The new perfume. The book club, nights where she'd come home giggly and too late. The way she started guarding her phone like it was radioactive. I stared at that drawing alone in the laundry room for a long time. My hands were still covered in drywall dust. I remember because I left fingerprints on the paper. I didn't say anything that night. I needed time. Proof. Amanda acted completely normal. She laughed at a dumb sitcom, offered me ice cream, kissed me goodnight. I watched her brush her teeth like she wasn't carrying a lie that could blow our lives apart. The next morning, I checked the laundry. Her jeans still had a receipt from 2 nights ago, dinner for 2, at a sushi place downtown. On a book club night. No book in sight. Later that day, when she was out, I checked the guest Wi-Fi history on our router. A device I didn't recognize had connected 3 different times during the last month. Always when I was working late. She doesn't have friends who visit. Not without telling me. I asked Mason, "Do you know your mommy's friend's name?" He thought for a second. "Jordan, I think. He brings cookies." Jordan. No one named Jordan exists in Amanda's world. And now I had a name. That's when the mood shifted in my head, from stunned to focused. I didn't confront her. I didn't give her the chance to lie. I ordered a hidden camera online. One of those tiny models that looks like a phone charger. Set it up in the bedroom. Quiet. Patient. She wanted me to be predictable? Fine. I'd be predictable. But I'd also be watching. And the next time Jordan walked through my front door, I'd finally see his face. The camera arrived on a Tuesday. I installed it the same night. It looked just like a regular phone charger. No blinking lights, no sound. I placed it in the bedroom outlet near the dresser, angled just enough to cover the bed. Amanda didn't notice. She was too busy texting someone under the covers. That night, I couldn't sleep. My stomach felt like it was full of nails. Mason had fallen asleep early. I just lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, wondering how long it had been going on and what exactly my son had seen without understanding. The next evening, Amanda said she had a girls' night. Same routine. Light makeup, too much perfume, casual goodbye like nothing was off. "Don't wait up," she said. I smiled. Of course not. An hour later, her car was still in the driveway. That's when I knew. She wasn't going anywhere. He was coming here. I sat in my truck, parked down the block with the live feed running on my phone. I watched the bedroom through a grainy black and white screen. Nothing at first, just silence, empty frame. Then around 8:15, someone walked in. Red hair. He kissed her like he owned the place. Right at the foot of our bed. He didn't even hesitate. Like it wasn't the first time. Like he expected to be there. Amanda was laughing, whispering something I couldn't hear. Then she said, clear as day, "Don't worry, Kyle never checks anything. He's too busy playing house." They kept going. No shame. No guilt. And then, this part made me go cold. Mason wandered into the room. Pajamas, blanket in hand. My 6-year-old. Just standing there in the doorway while they scrambled to cover up. Amanda snapped at him. "Go back to your room." But Jordan said, "Hey, buddy. Sorry, we were just watching a movie. Right, Mom?" Mason looked confused. Then turned and walked out. Amanda laughed. Like it was funny. Like this was normal. I sat in the truck, completely still. I didn't blink. I didn't move. I just stared at that tiny screen, watching the moment where I lost all respect for her. Not because she cheated, but because she let our son see it. She never even locked the door. That night, I didn't confront her. I didn't ask questions. I didn't raise my voice. She came to bed after midnight, smelling like wine and someone else's cologne. I pretended to be asleep. She slid under the blanket, next to me. Same spot Mason had drawn in that picture. The rage I felt wasn't loud. It was the quiet kind, the kind that simmers low and deep, the kind that doesn't burn out. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I rewatched the footage. frame by frame. There was one thing I hadn't noticed before. When Mason had walked in and asked what they were doing, Jordan had looked at Amanda and said, "He doesn't get it. He's too young. By the time he figures it out, I'll already be living here." Living here. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just an affair. This was a plan. She wasn't slipping up. She was replacing me. Not just as a husband. As a father. After seeing what happened on that footage, I couldn't stop replaying it in my head. Not just the cheating. I'd already made peace with that in the worst way. It was Mason walking in. The way he stood there, silent, confused. That image burned into me. That morning, I walked him to school like usual. Held his hand tighter than normal. On the way, he asked, "Are you mad at Mommy?" I said, "Why would you ask that?" He shrugged. "You don't hug her in the kitchen anymore." I didn't answer. He looked up at me, dead serious. "She yells at her friend when you're gone. One time I hid under the bed 'cause it was really loud." My chest locked up. "She yelled at him?" I asked. He nodded. "Yeah." He said bad words, and Mommy cried. "Then they went to your closet." I knelt down on the sidewalk, right there next to his backpack. "What closet?" He pointed. "Your closet. The big one." They went in and slammed the door. That's when I drew the other picture. Other picture? He unzipped the front pocket of his backpack and pulled out another drawing. I froze. This one wasn't like the first. There were 4 figures. Mommy, Jordan, Mason, and something else, off in the corner. A small figure under a big rectangle labeled bed. That one was labeled me. Me. Under the bed. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. He looked confused by my silence and said, "You can keep it." I told him I'd see him after school. Kissed his head. The second I got home, I shut the door behind me and sat at the kitchen table with that drawing in front of me. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was trauma. My son had been hiding under the bed while they fought. While she cried. While her lover, who I now realized was getting more comfortable by the day, slammed doors and cursed in front of my kid. And Amanda? She either didn't notice or didn't care. Either way, she was unfit. Not just as a wife. As a mother. That's when I stopped thinking about revenge and started planning for custody. I began documenting everything. Dates, screenshots, the footage. I started backing up messages, pulling phone records, getting financial statements. I wasn't rushing. I wasn't confronting her. I was building something airtight. One night, I pretended to fall asleep on the couch. Around 11 p.m., I heard the front door unlock. I watched through a crack in the hallway. Jordan walked in like he owned the place. No hesitation. He dropped his keys in the tray I built years ago by hand. He grabbed a beer. Walked into my bedroom. Amanda followed. Giggling. I didn't move. Didn't say a word. Just watched as my home turned into a stranger's playground. The next morning, Mason told me he heard yelling again. He said he couldn't sleep. So I asked him one thing. If I ever wanted to live somewhere else with just you, would that be okay? He looked up and said, "Can I bring my Legos?" That was all I needed. I made the call that afternoon. To a lawyer. Serving her wasn't the hard part. Timing it was. I waited until a Friday afternoon, right before the weekend. My lawyer said it was smart. Gives her time to panic, but not to regroup. Amanda was supposed to take Mason for a quick Target run after school. I stayed behind, pretending to finish a job quote. She walked out the front door smiling. 15 minutes later, a woman in a blue windbreaker knocked. Amanda got served right there in the parking lot. Divorce. Custody. Visitation suspension pending a court hearing. Inside the envelope were copies of the drawings. Still taped to the petition like exhibits in a trial. I didn't expect her to come back right away, but she did. She stormed into the house like a thunderclap. Slammed the door, walked straight into the living room where I was sitting with Mason on the couch. "What the hell is this, Kyle?" she snapped, holding the envelope in one shaking hand. "You blindsided me. In front of our son." I didn't stand up. I didn't yell. I just said, "Mason, go to your room for a bit." He looked confused but obeyed. Amanda turned to me, furious. "You really think you're going to take him from me? Because of a few drawings?" I handed her a flash drive. That's the camera footage. And the Wi-Fi logs. And receipts. And the photo of Jordan tucking his shirt in on my side of the bed. "You want to keep going?" She didn't speak. Her jaw clenched, eyes glossy. But it wasn't sadness. It was anger. Cornered animal anger. "He's my son," she said quietly. "You're using him against me." "No," I replied. "I'm protecting him from you." That's when she lost it. She threw the flash drive at me, missed, and started screaming. Not even words, just sound. She knocked over the lamp, slapped the edge of the coffee table hard enough to draw blood from her knuckles. I didn't flinch. Then Mason came back. He peeked down the stairs and said, "Mom?" Amanda froze. She looked at him, hands still clenched, eyes wild. And in that moment, I saw it click. She wasn't in control anymore. He saw it too. He walked down the stairs slowly, walked to me, and sat in my lap. Quiet. Watching. Amanda's face cracked. She tried to speak, but nothing came out. I looked at her and said, "You just lost the custody hearing." She whispered, "You can't take him." I stood up. "I'm not taking him. You gave him away." She left that night. Slammed the door so hard it shook the frame. I checked the camera again. Got the whole scene. Everything she screamed. Everything she broke. The moment Mason chose where he felt safe. The footage wasn't just for court anymore. It was a timestamp of the day things changed for good. Court day was quiet. Amanda showed up in beige slacks and a blouse like she was applying for a loan. She barely looked at me. Her lawyer did all the talking. She sat still, but her foot bounced the entire time. I came prepared: videos, drawings, router logs, the flash drive. My lawyer laid it out piece by piece. Not angry, not dramatic, just clear. She brought a man into the marital home repeatedly, with the child present. The child documented the behavior in his own words. The behavior was confirmed by video. This was not a one-time incident. It was routine and reckless. Amanda's lawyer tried to argue the drawings were childish exaggerations. So we played the clip. The one where Mason walked in. The one where Jordan called him buddy. The one where Amanda laughed after kicking him out of the room. Silence in the courtroom. Even the judge frowned. Amanda finally broke when the footage of her meltdown played. She stood up, interrupting her own lawyer, and shouted, "This isn't fair. You're making me look like a monster." No one said a word. The judge called a recess. 10 minutes later, we got the decision. Temporary sole custody granted to me. Amanda, supervised visits only. Jordan, no contact with Mason whatsoever. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just nodded. Amanda, on the other hand, left the courtroom in tears. Not quiet ones, ugly sobs. I stayed back, waited until the hallway was clear, and picked up Mason from the daycare across the street. He looked up at me and said, "Can we go home now?" I said, "We already are." That night, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It was Amanda. Her voice was wrecked. "You don't get to erase me, Kyle. He's my son. He loves me. He's just confused right now. I know he'll come back to me. They always do. You're just a phase. You always were." I replayed it once. Saved it to the archive. Not for revenge, just in case I needed a reminder. As for Jordan, gone. 2 days after court, Amanda texted me a screenshot. Jordan had blocked her. Deleted their photos. Changed his number. She wrote, "Guess he was just a phase too." No reply. I wasn't interested in playing games anymore. The only thing that mattered was sleeping soundly at night, with Mason in the next room, finally safe. It's been 5 months. Mason sleeps through the night now. No more waking up crying. No more drawings with red-haired strangers. He's back to dinosaurs and race cars. We built a Lego city across his bedroom floor last weekend. It's the first time I've heard him laugh like that in a long time. We moved out of the old house. Too many ghosts in the walls. I found a small rental closer to my mom's. Simple place. Clean start. It doesn't feel like a downgrade. It feels like a rescue. Amanda sees him once a week at a family center. Supervised. 1 hour. The first visit, he didn't want to go in. Said he didn't feel like talking. I didn't push him. Eventually, he went. Said it was okay. But every time he comes back out, he walks faster than he did going in. Says he's tired. Says she talks too sweet. Like she's trying to buy something. Last week, Amanda showed up at the new house. No warning. She stood outside the porch while I was sweeping. Had makeup on. Heels. Trying too hard to look normal. Like the meltdown never happened. I didn't invite her in. She said, "He's still my son, Kyle." I said, "I never said he wasn't." She stepped forward, a little too confident. "You can't keep him from me forever. He'll come back around. They all do. You're just a safe zone. A rest stop." I looked her dead in the eyes. "No," I said. "He's not a phase. And neither am I." Then I shut the door. She stood there a while. I watched from the hallway window as she finally turned and walked back to her car. That was the last time she came uninvited. I still have both drawings. Framed, actually. Not as decoration, just as a reminder of what I missed. What I let slide. What he saw when I wasn't paying attention. The truth didn't come from a courtroom or a video. It came from a child's hand, with a crayon, telling me something he didn't even understand. And I listened. That's why this story has a good ending. Not because I won, but because he never had to draw a third picture. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.